The guest characters, I've been missing ladies. I really was hoping for a female guest character. We never got one, and don't tell me Alien was one, because I don't see Alien as a female guest character. I really was waiting for one, and actually it's really sad that we haven't had any since MK9, MKX, MK11. That's kind of disappointing.
The subject of female guest characters in Mortal Kombat has come up in the Mortal Kombat community. And if you look at all the guest characters that we've gotten since we have started getting guest characters in Mortal Kombat games, none of them have been female. And so with the recent announcement of the Mortal Kombat 1 Combat Pack, a lot of people have been asking, hey, where are the female guest characters at this point? It's been over 10 years of us getting guest characters. Why no female guest characters? And so in this video, I wanted to delve into that question and answer why I think we're not getting female guest characters and why it's a little bit more harder than you think. Don't forget to please leave a like on this video to show your support. It really does go a long way. And also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss content from me. Also join the Discord if you guys have any topics you guys want to talk about or talk about the things that have been going on in the Mortal Kombat community. Remember to click the link down below and join the community. So I actually went over on Twitter and tweeted about this very subject. By the way, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. And I said, on the topic of female guest characters in Mortal Kombat 1, these are the only ones that I can see being an actual realistic fit. But even then, there's a few issues with some of them. Let's break it down. And the characters I included were Bayonetta, the Bride from Kill Bill, Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw, and Rain from BloodRayne, or just BloodRayne. So the creator of Bayonetta actually said that he would really like to see her in Mortal Kombat. And while the creator is on board with Bayonetta being in Mortal Kombat, it's not as simple as just having the creator say yes. There's a whole other thing that you have to go through to get a character like Bayonetta in Mortal Kombat, and that is Nintendo. And I don't really have to say much, but Nintendo is very, very hard to work with. In fact, they're probably going to make Bayonetta a Nintendo exclusive character, and I'm not sure if WB Games or NetherRealm really wants to have Nintendo exclusive characters or exclusive characters with consoles in general. There's also the argument that although Bayonetta's games have a lot of violence in them, they're very stylized. They're not Mortal Kombat levels of violence. They're still violent, but they're very like stylized and have a particular art style to them that is not at all like Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of hurdles to get that character in a game like Mortal Kombat. Yes, I know that Mortal Kombat is on the Switch, but we're talking about Nintendo characters or Nintendo exclusive as of right now, because I know Bayonetta is not originally from Nintendo, but she is still Nintendo exclusive right now. We're talking about that exclusivity being included in another game that is available on all consoles. And again, not really sure if that is the most realistic choice right now. Now, here's what I said over on Twitter, and this got a lot of people talking. I said, the Bride from Kill Bill works really well. However, is the thought of seeing Uma Thurman being brutally chopped to pieces really that comfortable to you? It really isn't to me. If they decide to not have Uma Thurman, then what would be the point? So the reason why that had a lot of people talking in the quote retweets was because a lot of people were bringing up the fact that Peter Weller, Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger are in the game. So they were saying, oh, if you don't have a problem with them being brutally chopped to pieces, why do you have a problem with Uma Thurman being brutally chopped to pieces? And here's the thing, they have already experienced Mortal Kombat-like violence in movies they have been in previously. So that is the starting point with them. It's already okay to do it with them because they've already done it. It's pre-established. That is the standard now. It's not with Uma Thurman. In Kill Bill, she does deal with a lot of brutal scenes. There is a lot of things that she's dealt with, being sliced with swords, being punched really, really hard, dealing with gunshot wounds, dealing with stab wounds, but all of that violence is not the same as having your intestines pulled out of your mouth, having your jaw be dislocated and ripped from your skull, having your eyes popped out and squished and drank for juice. The worst that she dealt with in both Kill Bill movies is not the same as the worst she's going to deal with in Mortal Kombat games. However, I have said that if the bride ended up actually being in Mortal Kombat, like the deal is pretty much done, and Uma Thurman herself says, yeah, I'm fine with it. Go ahead. I sign off on this. Go ahead and do all these fatalities on me in a video game. I don't care. Then I would be fine because a new standard has been set. But right now, the standard for Uma Thurman experiencing the kind of violence that's in Mortal Kombat isn't there. And it's a little bit weird. But there is wiggle room that you can work with because she has dealt with violence before. It's not the same kind of violence that you would experience in Mortal Kombat, but it's still pretty brutal violence. The Kill Bill movies are incredibly violent. They're Quentin Tarantino movies. Of course they are. So when it's all said and done, if I really thought about it, I would be okay with the bride being a guest character in Mortal Kombat. I think the bigger issue that you also have to deal with is, what are you going to do with her moves? Really, like, what is there to come up with? But it's not my job. The people at NetherRealm have jobs for that, so I'm sure they could come up with something. But for me, I'm not that creative, so I can't really think about it right now. Now, I brought up Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw, and honestly, there isn't much I have to say against her. I actually do think she would be a great choice for a female guest character in Mortal Kombat. The game she comes from is very violent. It's a hack and slash game, and that game is filled with combos, so you can do so many combos with this character if she were to be in Mortal Kombat. And also, there's supposed to be a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw coming out soon, so there's a perfect cross promotion that you can do. And for me personally, I think it's a better choice than Harley Quinn. Tara Strong voices Juliet. If there's any issue that I can see with Juliet, it's that maybe because she's 18 years old, like she's barely an adult. For me, I can say, well, you can just age her up for the game, make her the same age as the Combat Kids, which are like 25, 26 or something like that. And the other problem that you can run into is that this video game, Lollipop Chainsaw, is a cult classic. It's not the most popular game in the world, but it does have its fans. But it's like a cult classic. It's not a widely popular game. But like I said, there is a new Lollipop Chainsaw game coming out. It's a remaster or remake or something like that. So the popularity of a new game being released could actually give her the boost that she needs to have a good reception of being in Mortal Kombat. And then lastly, Rain, or BloodRayne from the BloodRayne series. I really actually do think she works. It's just that video game series is incredibly obscure. I feel like if you put her out there in this big trailer for a Combat Pack 2 or a Combat Pack 3, there's going to be a significant amount of people that ask, who? She's also a vampire character, and you do run into the problem of her filling the same role as a character like Scarlet or Nitara, and she does look very similar to Kira. So why not put Kira in there? Kira is probably more popular than Rain to Mortal Kombat fans, if we're being real. Another name that I've seen popped up so many times in terms of the topic of female guest characters is Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series. Now for me, I was actually almost convinced that she could actually work as a Mortal Kombat character because she could play like a female Rambo. You can find different ways to differentiate her from Rambo, but she would essentially be a female Rambo. She's dealt with a lot of brutal deaths in her own games. Like if you see some of the deaths that you experience when you fail quick time events in those games, some of them are incredibly brutal. I'm not going to show them because I'm going to get demonetized, but you can look them up. Go on YouTube and search Tomb Raider All Deaths or something like that. Some of them are very brutal. But another thing that I just learned is that among Tomb Raider fans, there was a huge backlash for that same violence that I'm talking about. And in the newer games, they reduced the violence that is in those games. So if Lara Croft fans, Tomb Raider fans, don't like seeing her getting brutally killed in her own franchise, what's to say that they're going to like Mortal Kombat violence on Lara Croft? I don't think it's gonna go over very well. And as far as I'm aware, Lara Croft isn't the type of character to brutally kill somebody else. She may deal with it, but she doesn't deal that same kind of damage back. The worst she probably does is stab people in the neck or in the back or in the chest with her knife with her stealth kills. That's the most violent she's going to get. And if you're trying to translate her over into Mortal Kombat, and that's the standard that you have with the character, it's not really gonna go over well. A lot of people have brought up Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. To anybody who's watched that show, it's not really that violent. Yeah, there are some brutal moments in the show, but not Mortal Kombat brutal, not Mortal Kombat violence. And Buffy isn't even the type to really delve into the Mortal Kombat violence. So you're already very, very limited with choosing female characters from movies and TV. And when you do have some that actually could maybe kind of work, you run into the situation of, well, are they actually fighters? Are they that violent? Do they deal with the same kind of violence? Every single female character that you can suggest, you're going to run into those gray area questions and a lot of uncertainty. And then when you go onto the video game side of female leads in video games, there is still a lot of gray uncertainty areas with those characters, like Lara Croft. You're not gonna have Samus, you're not gonna have Zelda, you're not gonna have Tifa Lockhart. Ellie from The Last of Us? Not really. I know there are plenty of other great female leads in video games. That was just a handful, but I just named off some of the most popular and some of the most recognizable, and they really wouldn't fit. And so when you start to go down the list, you start getting into a little bit more obscure games that people are not really familiar with. And so when you compare that with male guest characters, you have plenty of options that are easy shoo-ins, like Omni-Man, like Homelander, like Freddy Krueger, like Jason, like Leatherface, all these characters that have been in Mortal Kombat games before. They're easy shoo-ins, like you don't even question it. But when it comes to female guest characters, you question it because it's like, well, do they really work? And that's not to say that those female characters are bad in any way. Of course not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they're probably bad for Mortal Kombat, or they just don't fit Mortal Kombat's aesthetic. Overall, female guest characters are really tricky. There is plenty of amazing female leads in video games and movies, but a lot of them run into the problem of just simply not fitting the aesthetic of Mortal Kombat by not being actual fighters, obscurity, copyright hell, and so much more. But it's not impossible. Bayonetta, The Bride, Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw, and BloodRayne, you know what? They would actually be pretty good. You still run into some problems, but I feel like at the end of the day, you can make something work with those characters. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm happy to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a big thumbs up and subscribe for all things Mortal Kombat. I will see you all in the next video.